Okay, let's get to the answers for the custom records quiz. So the first question, which of these is not a valid use case for a custom record solution in NetSuite? Now, there are many use cases that you can leverage custom records for, but one use case that you wouldn't leverage a custom record for is to create a new custom segment for reporting purposes. You would create a new custom segment. So hopefully you got that one. That was pretty straightforward. Let's move on to the next question. A customer is using custom records to track customer satisfaction surveys, so a more common use case. What data will NetSuite show when creating a list view for that custom record in the customer center? And it's only going to show the customer surveys for the logged in customer if the customer filter is applied. All right, the next question, which of these tabs are not added after saving a custom record for the first time? So when you're creating that custom record and you hit save, NetSuite is going to add some additional tabs to the user interface. And one of the tabs that isn't added is the links tab. It should already be there. The next question, in the 2024.2 NetSuite release, so the release prior to the most recent one, the access type value of no permissions required was changed and it was actually renamed. But what was it renamed to? It was renamed to no permissions required for internal rules. And if you hop into NetSuite, you can double check that for yourself. Okay, the next question. What does the enable inline editing setting do on a custom record? Well, this feature, is available throughout NetSuite once it's enabled, and it's really no different for custom records. So it allows records to be edited directly when they are displayed as a list. The next question, what determines the URL of a custom record in NetSuite? Well, it's going to be a combination of the internal ID of that custom record combined with the internal ID of the underlying record that you're viewing. When enabled, which custom record type setting displays the user who created a record entry? And the feature that you need to enable is a checkbox. It's the show owner on record. Next up, we have how can you establish a parent-child relationship between two custom records? Now, if you haven't done this before, this one might have caught you out because it's not as straightforward as you might think. You actually need to create a custom field with a record list type within NetSuite that references the parent custom record type. And then you include that custom field on the child record. You also need to make sure that when you create that custom field, that record list type field, that you check the box record is parent. That establishes that parent-child relationship between those two custom records. All right, next question. In the list of custom record types in NetSuite, what does it mean if you see the little padlock icon next to the custom record name? Well, what it means is that the related bundle that was associated with that custom record has been locked down to prevent anyone from, who's installed that particular bundle from modifying or manipulating that record. It's something a lot of NetSuite partners do to lock down their solution so you can't break anything within that. Okay, moving on. When does NetSuite check for conflicting updates? When a user or a script attempts to save updates to a NetSuite custom record instance. Well, that's going to be when the enable optimistic locking option is enabled for that custom record type. So imagine you have two users working in NetSuite simultaneously on the same record. To make sure that you're checking for conflicting updates, you need to make sure that the enable optimistic locking feature is enabled. Okay, we have a custom record A, and it has a custom list record field that selects from a separate custom record, in this case, custom record B. Can the values for custom record B be deleted? Now, you might think the answer is no, but actually you can if that custom record type B has both the allow child record editing enabled and allow delete setting enabled. And those are features that you set within the custom record configuration for custom record type B in this case. All right, next question. Which of these is not a valid custom record setting? So if you take a look at your custom record configuration in NetSuite, you'll see that show created by does not exist, but the other three configuration options do. Which of these custom record settings might you enable if your end users only have a few fields to populate? We're just thinking logically, if you have a custom record and maybe you have 2, 3, 4 fields, maybe you want to allow the users to add them quickly without going through kind of the standard record creation process. Allow them to do that from their home dashboard. What is the purpose of the records are ordered checkbox on a custom record? Well, what that does is it's going to allow the user to modify the order of any child record types on each parent record. Next up, what is the purpose of the hierarchy checkbox on a custom record? Well, the hierarchy checkbox allows the user to define hierarchies among values of the same record type. So you can define hierarchies within the respective records of that custom record. Next up, which statement is true about custom record permissions? And it's true that you can assign different permission levels per user role within NetSuite. So you're not forced into one or another. You can truly, as the way NetSuite works across standard records in the system, you can assign different role permissions to different user roles in the application. An administrator wants to limit a custom role so that the role only uses a specific custom form when viewing a custom record. So what configuration would you need to use to achieve this? Well, you would navigate to the custom role. You're going to go to the Forms tab and then the Custom Record sub-tab, and you're going to select both the preferred and the restricted checkboxes for that custom record. That's going to lock that form down for that user role. So when they access that custom record, they're going to be forced to use that specific custom form. And that's really standard across other objects in NetSuite as well. All right, which of the following cannot be directly linked to a custom record? So when working with custom records, they're very flexible. You can use them for script deployments and development. You can tie them, to saved searches so that you can report on the values of those custom records. You can use them in workflows, but you cannot directly link them, I should say, to financial reports in NetSuite. Which custom record type setting prevents users from creating a new record in the user interface? This one was pretty straightforward. It might have caught you out, but you need to have the Allow UI Access checkbox enabled to allow a user to log into NetSuite and create new records of that type. All right, and last but not least, which of these is not a valid access type value for a custom record? So we saw earlier that a new value was no permissions required for internal roles. There's 2 other values available as well: use permission list and require custom record entries permission. So the value that is not a valid option is require full license. So with that, I hope you enjoyed the quiz. Let me know in LinkedIn how you did, and watch this space for more quizzes coming to you soon. Thank you.